And in this Key Vault, we'll talk about these many features. We'll talk about Key Vault features, access for the Key Vault, examples for the Key Vault certificates, keys, types of keys, customer managed keys, secrets, rotations. That's what we'll see. Let's talk about it one by one. When it comes to Azure Key Vault, it's a service. It's a storage entity on cloud that helps you keeping your sensitive information over the cloud. Could be your keys, your password, your secrets, your certificates that you can keep in Key Vault. And that's not only about securing it, keeping it. It's also about providing the access to the right person. Securely access the data. This Key Vault also uses the FIPS standard, Federal Information Processing Standard, FIPS level 2, level 3 for HSM modules. So it follows these kind of compliance for Key Vault. You can quickly create your encryption keys, your cryptographic keys in a minute. And this Key Vault is a managed service. It reduces the latency with cloud scale and global redundancy. When you use the Key Vault, your application has no direct access to the keys. You don't have to write down the credential in your application. Simplify and automate the task for SSL TLS certificates that can be done using the Key Vault. So let's talk about the Key Vault service. Let's see that the moment you get started with the Key Vault, what will happen and what type of options you'll be getting. So when you start setting up the Key Vault, you have to define that is it a software Key Vault or is it a hardware Key Vault? This vault is of two types, software protected vault and HSM protected vault. Those are called the premium SKU. So this is called the SKUs. What SKU are you going to use for your Key Vault? Standard one or the premium one? Standard is called software one. Premium is called hardware one. And as you choose between software and hardware type of Key Vault, the types of key will get changed. So what kind of key type, what type of protection methods you are going to get? If it is HSM protected keys, then you can have three types of keys, EC key, RSA key, and OCT key for your managed HSM. If it's a premium vault, then you don't get OCT key. OCT key doesn't support with HSM, with premium. It only supports with managed. For EC key, for RSA key, the key sizes, here the maximum key size is 256K. Here the maximum size is 521K for managed HSM. That's a difference you need to understand. For RSA keys, this is the size. Maximum size is 4096 bit. This is 4096 bit, same for managed HSM. Same goes for software Key Vault. If you go with the software, the vault would be, you can have this two type of keys, RSA and EC key. And this is the size that they have given. Along with the keys, you should know that what type of compliance it follows with whichever Key Vault you are using. If it's a Key Vault, premium and standard SKU, that support 142 level 1. If it's a software one. If it's HSM protected in the with the premium one, then that support steps 142 level 2. HSM with the managed HSM, that support level 3 compliance. As your company, it's all up to your organization, whichever compliance they want, whichever they want to follow, you just use that particular HSM, you just use that particular Key Vault, because you need to meet your company's standard, your company's compliance as well. Next is Key Vault secrets. In your key vault, you can have your keys, you can have your secrets. Now, when I say secrets, size of the secret is up to 25 KB, and all secrets in the key vault are stored encrypted. You can generate your secrets. The key vault encrypts the secret address with a hierarchy of encryption keys, and all key in that hierarchy are protected with modules. Those are FIPS compliant. When it comes to secret, that doesn't require any action from the user side. Because whenever the key vault service encrypts your secret, when you add them, it get encrypted, and you decrypt them, it automatically you can read them. That means there is no particular action required from the user side. When it comes to the secret, there is one more thing. The moment you keep your secret in the key vault, there we get the secret identifier. That is called secret identifier ID. This is how we share that with others. Using that identifier, we access them. Next one is keys. When you start keeping your keys in your key vault, if it's a software key vault, it's a HSM key vault, what kind of operations you want to perform? Are you talking about the management operations? Are you talking about the cryptographic operations? Are you talking about the privileged key operations? When I say manage operations, these are the managed operations right here. Cryptographic, these are the cryptographic operations. Encryption, decryption, wrapping, unwrapping, verify, sign. So what are these? These are the permission. This is the permission template for keys. We'll talk about this permission later on. Let's first have a look on this access. This is something very, very important over here about the key vault. When you set up the key vault access, now the question is, who's gonna use the key vault? Is it a user or application is going to use it? Maybe your users is going to use the key vault service, or maybe your application is integrated with the key vault. So whenever user or application uses the key vault, the first thing is authentication needs to be done because key vault is a sensitive services. No one can directly get into the key vault and get the access, right? So first of all, authentication is must. After that, authorization is also important. So when I say authentication, that means user or application have to define that who they are, who you are. After the authentication, once the authentication takes place, then authorization is also must. Authorization means which operations follower can execute, what actions you can take place on that particular key vault. What are the rights that you have? So now there is most important thing. You need to first understand on the key vault, where do you want to get the access? Do you want the access on the data plane or on the management plane? Management plane means it's about managing the key vault, creating the keys, deleting the keys, key vaults or not keys, it's key vault, retrieving the key vault property. It's all about key vault, complete key vault service. But when I say the data plane, that means we are talking about the data in the key vault. We are talking about adding the keys, deleting the keys, modifying the keys, secrets, certificates. For that, we need a different permissions. Now, what is the right way to take the permission across this key vault, management plane or data plane? So I believe all of you already familiar with the RBAC. You know that RBAC is one such method by which we assign the permission, we segregate the duties. So RBAC will work for both of these options. If you want to give permission to somebody on the management plane, go with the RBAC. Same goes to the data plane, go with the RBAC. But here we have one more thing. We have another option called RBAC access policies, key vault access policies. The Key Vault access policy works with the data plane. It doesn't work with the management plane. On the data plane, you do have two options. Key Vault access policy gives you a granular set of permissions to apply the rights on the data plane. These options you have to define while setting up the Key Vault itself. You can modify that later on as well, but while setting it up, you got these kind of options as well. Where do you want to get the access? How do you want to manage it? Using RBAC or using Key Vault access policy? Let me show you this on the portal. I'll take you back to the portal, and here we can have a look on this. This is my Azure portal. I'll take you back to the Key Vault. I already have Key Vault, but I'll first show you some options. Then we can get started. This is my Key Vault, and while setting up a Key Vault, first you get to know the pricing here. Is it a standard one or is it a premium with HSM? Once you create your Key Vault, let's suppose this is one of my Key Vault that have been created. In this Key Vault, here you get the option. On the left hand side, you get the option to keep your keys, your secrets, your certificates. But you have to define the access configurations, that who is having the access. Now you see this is the one. What type of permission model do you want to use? Do you want to use RBAC permission model? It is recommended. Or do you want to use access policy model? If I talk about access policy, you can see over here, there are two people who have the access. Access policy enable you to have fine-grained access control over the vault items. It's about accessing the data. As you can see, if you want to give permission to somebody on the key, on the secret, on the certificate, you have to choose the right permission for them. As of now, so far, Adam and Archana, these two are the users who have the permission across keys. And Adam only have the permission across the secrets. So let's set it up. Maybe I want to give the access policy or create the access policy for my user. So first you have to choose that, do you want to give the access only on the key, only on the secret, only on the certificates, maybe on key secret, maybe on key certificates? What type of keys? So maybe I'm talking about key and secret management. Maybe I want to give the permission to all the three. Maybe I want to give the permission only to the keys. Now there you have multiple permissions, management operations, cryptographic operations, privileged key operations, rotation key operations. Even there are few more templates. For example, I talk about this. Let's say we are talking about the example called Azure Backup. So when we talk about backup, these are the permissions we need across the keys. But it's all up to you, whichever permissions you want to choose, you can. As of now, I'm talking about key management, and I can cherry pick the permissions by myself. Get, list, update, import, delete, recover, create, backup. These are the permissions. Privileged key operation, rotation policies. So this is called a granular set of permissions. For example, I'm talking about all the key management permissions. Then you have to define to whom. You have to define a principal. And do remember, only one principal can be assigned per policy. Maybe I'm talking about one of my user called Abhay, and I want to give him the permission. To choose the user, third option is optional, and then finally you can review key. I won't be able to complete it because the subscription is okay. It's not valid. That's why I won't be able to add it, but that's how you do it. For the testing purpose, let me just try out something else so that I can show you these things. I'm going to change few things. I do have valid subscription across different accounts. That's I'm trying to switch. Okay, there we go. Here we have Key Vault. And here we do have a valid subscription. In my previous account, the subscription was not valid. So it's very important for you to understand that which type of access is given. On the data plane, on the management plane, where do you want a permission and what type of methods are there for? After that, we have this option that who need the access. For example, we know that Key Vault is a sensitive service and we don't want to allow this permission to anyone, unnecessary permission. People who belong to security team, if you have the role related to security team, what type of permission I should give you on the management plane? What type of permission you should have on the data? The people who belong to security team, they can have the permission on the management plane. They can be Key Vault contributor for the Key Vault. And on the data plane, they just have permission to backup, to create, delete, get, import, list, secret operations. So the data plane permission we can assign to security team. But if you are a developer or operator, have a look on this one. Now think about it. If someone is developer, will you really give the permission on the data plane to your developer? Will you give the permission to get the keys to the developer? No, right? So we don't give any permission on the data plane to the developer or to the operators. They have nothing to do with the keys, right? Why would we share the keys with the developers and operators? That's why we can allow the permission to them on management plane level. That would be Key Vault deploy permission that we can assign, because my developers can set up the Key Vault. That's what they can do. But I don't give them the permission on the data plane. Next, we have auditors. To the auditors, we don't give the permission to them on the management plane, but we can give the permission to them on the individual keys to list the secret. Same goes for the applications. We just give the permission to sign into the keys, get the keys, but we don't give permission to read the keys, list the keys, get the keys. Only sign permissions. And no permission required on the management. Guys, this is something very, very important. In exam, they may ask you the questions about this, because here we are dealing with the very sensitive information and you should be familiar that who should have access, where we should have access. That needs to be, you should be familiar with that. Next is called customer managed keys, CMKs. Customer managed key means here we are talking about when you want or your organization wants their own keys. But let's take an example. Let's say I'm talking about a storage account service. Now the storage account is something which is encrypted automatically. Microsoft uses storage service encryption on your storage account level, where we do not have any control. Now you're saying that you want to use your own key for encryption and for encryption purpose. You want to use the key for wrapping and unwrapping purpose. So how can I cannot wrap and unwrap my Microsoft managed keys. I have to first bring my own key, which I can wrap, I can unwrap by myself. So it can be the manual process, it can be the programmatic process, it can be automatic. So it's possible to generate the keys and that you can integrate with the other account. That can be done. Next is called Key Vault secret. Secrets are just like a name value pair and it's just like a password. The value of the secret is maximum up to 25 KB in size. You can manually upload your secrets or you can use a certification creation for them. Like this. How do you upload it? It's like a name value pair. Next is keyword rotation. Now in real-time environment, if you talk about the production environment, we actually use the keyword with many other logics, with many other services. You have your key vault, which is further connected to the event grid, and event grid is further connected to the function app. It is further connected to your SQL. Now, what is the agenda of this logic? We want that within your SQL, it could be your storage account. We want that there we need to update the secret automatically, update the password automatically, because each secret has a specific timeline. Now you want that the key would be updated automatically. How this is going to possible? First, for each key, for each secret, there would be an expiry time, that how long it is going to be valid. Let's suppose for this SQL, whatever secret it has, the expiry time is near about, and maybe a near expiry event will be generated. So once the event gets generated to the event grid will get that event and it will send that particular event to the function app. A function app will get triggered using the event grid. It's like an input for function app. Next we have, once the function app gets started, the new secret version will get updated. Function app is nothing but a kind of small application where we don't define any sort of codes. And using the function app, the key vault will generate a new piece. A new version will get created. So once the new version gets created, the new version will be updated in the key vault in this particular SQL service. So this whole process can be manual, it can be automatic, it can be done programmatically using REST API. We can also use automation scripts as well to complete such notation of the keys. So these are the three methods, either manual, programmatically, or automation. Next, we have key vault safety and recovery features. Now, we were talking about key vault. We discussed about management. We discussed about access. We discussed about allowing permissions. But now think about it. It's a sensitive service. And as we are uploading the data over there, we are keeping the data over here, sensitive information over here. How about the recovery? What if someone delete your key vault? Will you lose all the keys? So there is an option called soft delete option. Along with your key vault, the soft delete will get enabled. Now think about the key vault without a soft delete protection. For example, there is no soft delete protection within the key vault. If it has no soft delete protection, in that case, if someone try to delete the key vault will be deleted permanently. It cannot be recoverable. You can't get it back if it is deleted once. But if your key vault is protected with a soft delete, then when the user performs the delete operation, the key vault will be moved to soft deleted state. That means it's not permanently gone. It's in a soft deleted mode. Now, if the user have the right permission, user can recover the keys on the key vault. He can release the recover operation, and that's how he can get the keys back. Or if user want to perform the purge operations, that can also be done. Or if the recovery period elapses, in that case, the key vault will be deleted permanently. So this is called key vault soft delete. Along with that, another option to keep your key vault safe, we can have a backup feature as well. You may have seen with the key vault, there is a backup option. You can generate the backup of your keys. Whatever versions you have, you generate the backup for them. And you do have later restore permission to get these keys back. So we have gone through the demonstration of key vault, some settings, access policy. We have seen